Well, it is good to be here once again for Bus Primetime as we come to you from Carelli's of Boulder on Thursday nights from 7 until 8 o'clock, talking Colorado basketball. Good crowd out here tonight. Always great. Split of a couple of games since our last show. They knocked off Baylor on Saturday, 76-74, and then a heck of a game, but dropped a 7-point contest to Kansas. Then on Big Monday at the Event Center. Coming up on the show, we've got not only Tad Boyle, but also JR Payne will be here. This will be her last show because next week they're going to be in Kansas City for the women's tournament. They had a nail-biter last night. They won by, 42, something like that? I mean, it was... I didn't catch the first part. I flipped it on at the end of the first quarter, and the game was over already. So they had a nice senior night activities last night at the Event Center. They've got one more ball game heading down to Texas Tech before they head off for the tournament. And then also Julian Hammond's going to join us tonight. Last couple of shows, we're going to have a couple of the veterans, Julian this week and Javon Ruffin next week. And Tad Boyle's here. Nice week. I mean, the split, you get the victory over Baylor.
Yeah.
And then gave Kansas a heck of a scare. I know you felt your team certainly could have won that ball.
Yeah, you wish you could have, go back and do that. But no, it was a good week. Mark, as I was thinking about this the other day, actually yesterday, as I watch our team watch film, and I've mentioned this to you. You and I had talked about it, in previous weeks, but I felt like in the month of January, I didn't feel like our team really evolved or grew much, from November and December, and that was disappointing to me. But I would say now that we're towards the end of February, I think over the last 3-4 weeks, our team's gotten a lot better. I think we've played a lot better. Now, the wins have not come because our schedule has not favored us, like it did early in the year. I just wish, you wish you could go back, and if we were playing like this in mid to early January, our record would be significantly different. But we weren't, and but I'm really proud of our guys for sticking together and not giving up, and they haven't, and they will. I don't think they will. I think the vibe of our team. If you came to our practices, you came to our shoot arounds, you came to our team meals or whatever, you wouldn't think this team is 2-14 or whatever the heck we are.
Right.
We do think these guys are right in the mix of it. So we're getting better, and now it's time to try to make some noise. We got 3 games left, 2 of them on the road, and Sunday we got K-State. But the Baylor game, I thought our guys played really, really tough and well. We didn't finish very well, but we hung on. And then Kansas, we didn't guard them very well. But man, we couldn't make a shot either. And at some point, I hate to be oversimplistic, but you got to make shots to win. At some point you got to. And we had some good looks that didn't go in, and so we're spending a lot of time on shooting this week.
Well, here's a number for you. The 2 games against Kansas this year, you're 9 of 47 from outside the arc.
Yeah.
And a lot of those are wide open shots.
Yeah.
Good shooters.
I shouldn't have delegated shooting to my assistants. I should have taken that over myself.
It's amazing how that comes and goes.
It just comes and goes.
Yeah. I'm going to make sure they hear that clip, by the way.
Yeah, I was in charge of rebounding against Kansas.
Yeah, were you?
We did rebound the ball extremely well, but we couldn't make a shot. So
It ain't interesting, too, the way that comes and goes. And you've talked about the way you guys chart shots in practice.
Yep.
And your percentages will be very, very high. And this team just has not really found that ability to do it in a game.
Not consistently, and a guy like Andre Yakimovsky is a great example. I mean, that's what he does.
Yes.
He came here, as a great shooter for Washington State, and there's certain years where the ball doesn't go in, or certain games, and then he'll make 3 in a row, and then all of a sudden he'll go on a dry spell, and it's like that consistency. That's why, I go back to our first year, Mark, and you remember, Levi Knutson.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, since he's graduated, I'm not sure we've had a consistent shooter knockdown guy. It's like, okay. I mean, Askia was streaky. We've had some good shooters here, but it makes you yearn for that. And it's funny. We're going to play K-State on Sunday, and they've got one of those guys. They've got a transfer from Villanova that's just like. I think he's made 80-some threes this year. I don't think 3 of our guys combined have made 80. So it is a skill that is very, very valuable in today's game.
That game against Kansas the other day, you had no answer for Hunter Dickinson inside.
We did not.
I mean,
we did not.
What, 32 and 13, I think you had.
Yeah, 32 and 13, and we had a game plan going in. We did not execute it very well. He's very unique in that it's very, very difficult to double team him in the post because he's number one, he's 7'2". Number two, he's a great passer, and number three, he catches the ball so deep, close to the basket that, and he's got great hands. He just finishes before the double team can even get there. So. We didn't do a very good job on him, but he's an All-American for a reason. He's one of the top. He's the best low post scorer in the college game today. There's no question about it. And so a little disappointing there, but what are you going to do?
Yeah.
I mean, we don't have anybody to match up with.
Guarding those guys or any player like him. Talk a little bit about the defensive philosophy there.
Yeah.
It really the job's done before he gets the ball.
Before
right?
he gets the ball, yeah. and again, he's so big and he's so strong and he's smart and he uses his body so well. But here was our game plan. The game plan was when the ball, because it's when he's on the block, you're not going to move him.
Yeah.
He's 7'2", 270 pounds, whatever he weighs. And so, especially Bangor Dak's not going to move him. And even Elijah Malone, as big and strong as he is, he's not going to move him. But if the ball is above the free throw line extended, we want to be three-quarters, which means we're not a total front because there's no help side. Kansas does a great job at taking the help side away. And then the only way the ball comes into the post is on a lob pass. Well, as the ball's in the air in the air for the lob, our defender is supposed to now move his feet and get behind him. So when he catches it, we're between him and the basket. And now the guards are helping when he puts the ball on the floor, to score, to dig it out of the post and help the big guy. And then if it goes below the foul line extended, the ball does, you want a full front. And now we've got some help side, and we can double team the post if it comes in there. And we didn't do a good job of either one of those. So he scored about, I think, 4 or 5 baskets, on just that alone. Now, the other ones he got were, lobs off of in transition and ball screen stuff. So he's a terrific player, and he catches the ball, man. You saw the first time he caught it. He's right by the rim, and he's so big and tall. It's he's a problem.
Catches it high, keeps it high.
He doesn't bring it down.
Great fundamentals.
Yep.
You went a plus 15, I think, rebounding the game with 18 offensive rebounds. One thing that we were talking about in the broadcast was the great team rebounding you were doing in that ball game. Yep. Your guards were very active in it.
Yeah, and that started the second half of the Baylor game. I thought the second half of the Baylor game, we rebounded the ball really, really well. The first half, not so much. So, and that continued in the Kansas game. So, hopefully that can be a trend because rebounding is such a big part of today's game. If you can do it consistently and that's where Houston is one of the best, and Iowa State. You look at the top rebounding teams in the league; they're usually towards the top in standings, and the same with defensive teams. And our defense is not. It hadn't been good enough all year. It wasn't good enough against Kansas. It was good enough against Baylor, but I thought our rebounding over the last three of the last 4 halves has been phenomenal.
Bangor Dak, we talked about him so many times. I mean, he's such an interesting, I think, kind of fascinating player because you can see what he can do. You can see there's still a lot of green left in him. I mean, he's just a pup in many respects. He had a couple of plays the other day that just defied description at different times. But what he's doing offensively, do you really? Would you say that he's more advanced offensively than defensively?
Yeah, I would say so. Absolutely, I would say that. Yeah, and it's not like it's just you throw him the ball on the block and he's going to go get it. He can face the basket. He can put it on the floor a little bit. He just needs to become more consistent. But his ability to roll and catch it and dunk the ball is high level. And obviously we ran a play for him, out of a timeout, and he got the lob dunk, and Julian put it on. We ran the same play 3 or 4 minutes later, and it went out of bounds because we couldn't pass and catch the ball. So it's it's the consistency factor, and part of it's Bangut, part of it's the guards, getting him the ball in those spots. So, but he's getting better and better and better. I pulled him aside after the Kansas game, and I said, I just kind of went over, kind of what I was just talking about with you about, the post defense and Hunter Dickinson, and I said, before you leave here, you're going to have to be able to guard all 5 positions. Right now, he can't guard any of the positions. Because now Hunter Dickinson is another level.
High level guy. Yeah.
High level guy. But he'll do a good job, I think, on Sunday against K-State. Their post guys aren't at the level Hunter was, so he'll be better in that game. But if you want to be an NBA player, if you want to get to where you want to get, you're going to have to guard all 5 positions in college. And because if you can prove it in college, then you get to the NBA, you're going to be able to do it there. Mm-hmm. And so that's going to be a big off-season, work for him is to guard perimeter players and guard post players, play a lot of one-on-one and work on your defense, but also get your jump shot to the position where, you can really make a three-point shot, because now if you can do that and you can roll to the rim and dunk like you do, you're going to be a serious problem for other defenses. So, yeah, it's we still got some time with him to develop him, and he's going to work hard, and he's committed, and look forward to the off season with him for sure.
When you get down towards the end of a season, like you're coming here very soon, you sit down with each guy that's coming back and say, this is your blueprint that I want to see you execute for next year?
Yeah, and it's a little premature for that, because what I don't want is our players to feel like, hey, we're thinking about next year already.
Right.
We still have 3 games left.
Yep.
We still have a conference tournament left. Like, there's still basketball ahead of us, so let's not put the cart in front of the horse. But in the back of our mind as coaches, you're always thinking, a step ahead. You get done with fall recruiting and you start thinking about spring recruiting. You get done with spring recruiting, you think about next fall recruiting. Like, you're always, as a coach, you're always having to think, 1 or 2 steps ahead. Our assistant coaches, Coach Greer has the Kansas State scout. I don't even know, as the head coach, I don't even know who has the Texas Tech scout.
Okay.
But somebody's got it. And whoever's got it, they're not concerned with the K-State scout. They're thinking about the Texas Tech. And then when
someone's got TCU after that.
And somebody's got TCU after that. So our coaches are always thinking, a step or 2 ahead game-wise. And they're also thinking ahead recruiting-wise. We all are. And but I don't want our players to think that, hey, they understand, and that's why we do it the way we do it. Like, they understand that, whatever coach has got the K-State scout doesn't have the Texas Tech scout. And so as soon as that game's over with, I'm like, okay, who's got Texas Tech? Okay, what do we got to do to beat them? And, you get the briefing and you get the, it's like cramming for a final exam,
Exactly
sometimes.
right.
So it's nice to have 6 days to prepare for Kansas State.
Yeah, had a long period of time off here.
That's very unusual in our schedule so far.
We'll go ahead and take a break here. When we come back, we'll have you tell us what you guys have been up to over the last few days and what the Buffs have been doing, getting ready for Kansas State. That's a game on Sunday, by the way, in Manhattan, Kansas, at the Bramlage Coliseum. That's a 2 o'clock game. Scott and I are going to hit there at 1:30 with the pregame. We are here at Carelli's. JR Payne still to come. We're going to talk with Julian Hammond as well. One more segment with Tad Boyle after a quick break. This is Colorado basketball from their field. University of Colorado basketball is brought to us by Modelo, a reward for those with a fighting spirit. Modelo brewed for full-time Bucks fans. Once again, back here at Carelli's of Boulder. One more segment with Tad Boyle. Still to come, JR Payne. Julian Hammond's going to join us as well. The CU men getting ready for Kansas State on Sunday afternoon, 2 o'clock in Manhattan, Kansas. Sad news today with the passing we found out about Gene Hackman dying.
I know. How sad is that?
Was Norman Dale the best movie coach of all time or not?
It's hard to beat it. Hard to beat it. Yeah, that was Hoosiers was one of the all-time favorite. That, and I think I was a big Natural fan. I love baseball.
Oh, sure,
I'm a big Natural fan. But yeah, Hoosiers was fantastic. Yeah, it's really sad. Really sad.
I think Gene Hackman was a better coach than who was that played the manager in the Natural? Oh goodness, Wilford Brimley, wasn't it?
Oh yeah.
Was it Wilford Brimley?
Yeah, it was.
I think it was. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he was. That's right. Yeah.
Have you ever, at any point, run the white picket fence?
Well, no, I haven't run the white picket fence, but I'll tell you this. You know, when I was a coach, I coached the sophomore team at Greeley West High School. It was my first coaching job.
All right. How old were you?
I was 24, 25.
Okay.
I was,
right.
And every time I ran into one of our players that was on that team, I offered to pay for their therapy because I was a nut job.
Were you a wild man?
I was a wild man, and you know, but my thought was, you know, hey, we're gonna control the tempo, we're gonna pass the ball, you know, 16 times before we take a shot, and then and then we would turn it over after the third or fourth pass. And, you know, about 5 games in the season, you know, I think we played like 10 games about halfway through. I said, you know what, let's whoever comes across half court with the ball, I want you to shoot it. As soon as you can shoot it. And then the other 4 guys just go try to rebound it. Like, you know, because at least we're going to get a shot off, and then we can maybe get a rebound. And so, yeah. And it was, but the picket fence and I just love that movie is classic.
Oh,
you know,
it's phenomenal.
there's some movies, as you know, Mark, that are just timeless. They're timeless, and that's a timeless movie.
Exactly right. Yeah, very sad about Gene Hackman, one of the great actors of our generation.
Yep.
All right. Now, what did you do with all the time you have off between these balls? I mean, 6 days. That's unbelievable in this Big 12 schedule.
It is. You know, obviously, you know, the game on Monday night was 9 o'clock, so, you know, I got to bed at 2. I don't know what time our players probably were, 1 o'clock or so. So, you know, the next day, obviously, they've got class. You take the day off. That's a no-brainer. And then, you know, I was planning on taking both days off, you know, taking Tuesday and Wednesday off and getting just kind of a break. But I tell you what, when you don't shoot the ball and you got great looks, it's like I can't in good conscience as a coach say, okay, we're going to take 2 days off. So, but I knew that we didn't want to practice and grind them, and, you know, because it's that time of year where they're mentally tired, they're a little physically tired, even though they're young, you know, healthy young men. So we did an hour of shooting, just absolutely, because guys like to shoot. That's the one thing they like to do. They don't like to do defensive drills. They don't want to do rebounding drills. They don't want to do transition drills. But they like to shoot. So we said, okay, we're going to shoot for an hour, and we did that. And we had a pickleball outing planned. So we took them to Boulder Pickleball, which is, you know, up in central Boulder there, and had a couple hours where they just got a chance to kind of let loose and play and enjoy each other, and it was a lot of fun. We did that last year, and a lot of the guys that did it last year wanted to go back. And so, you know, it's a great outing, especially this time of year, to get a little bit of levity. And today we had a good crisp practice. We were on the floor at 1:30. We were off by 3 o'clock. You know, so, and again, did a lot of shooting at the end. So, you know, you're not grinding them, but you're like, okay, you know, you got to continue to get better, and there's things you got to work on, and so we're trying to fine tune some things. There's things, you know, the next 2 days I'll probably lighten up a little bit tomorrow, to be honest with you, and then Saturday will be a prep day for K-State. We'll do our scouting report tomorrow, so. You know, you definitely shorten practices this time of year, but you want them to be crisp, you want them to be concise, you want them to be productive, and you want to feel like you're getting better because, you know, there's no such thing, I don't think, in college basketball at this time of year of you're either getting better or you're getting worse.
Right.
You're not kind of static and staying the same.
You talked about that in the first segment, and it does say something about the group of guys you have, because we've all been around teams, or I've covered many over the years, where they start to pack it in when the season's not going the way they want. So the fact that you guys have hung in there says something about the group you've got, says something about you guys as a staff, that they've continued to.
No doubt.
work.
No doubt.
Yeah.
You know, I always use the term "sack your bats." You
Yeah.
know, a lot of teams sack their bats,
That's right.
and it's like, and you can tell the ones that do that just kind of peter off. And again, I knew with our schedule the way it is played out, I knew that, you know, even though we may be getting better, even though we may play well late in the season, we may not get wins because of who we're playing and where we're playing them. So I think it speaks to the character of the young men that we have, Mark. And I know people use that term a lot and sometimes very loosely, but we've got really, really good kids from good families and that have character, and the season hasn't gone how they wanted, how we wanted, how any of us have wanted, but you learn a lot about yourself when you go through this, and I've learned a lot about these young men, and I've got nothing but respect for them because they have not sacked their bats, they haven't given up, they've continued to. I had a kid come in my office the other day and say, "Coach, I know I'm not playing as much, I just want you to know that you know, I'm all in. I'm on the team. I haven't given up, and I'll do whatever I need to do to help our team." And
Awesome.
you know, so those are unsolicited things that, like, you know, that doesn't happen on every team.
No,
you know,
that's right.
especially in today's world, as you and I have talked off air a lot. In this era that we're in college athletics, it's all about me, and what do I get, and we haven't had that, and I'm really, really proud of our guys for that. I'm not proud of our record. I'm not proud of, you know, winning more games, but I'm certainly proud of the young men that we have in our program.
I want to get you to comment about Julian here shortly.
Yeah.
But first, give us a little scouting report of what we're going to see with K-State on Sunday.
Well, K-State, you know, they've got a big guy named Coleman Hawkins, who's a transfer from Illinois, who's a terrific player, and he's a very unique player in that he plays the center position, but he's one of the best passers. He's a lot like Evan Batty was. You know, he can really pass the ball. He can distribute as a big guy. And he's been out the last few games, and they've really struggled without him. They're a totally different team without him. We don't know whether he's going to play on Sunday or not. So we have to prepare for two different K-State teams. It's like, okay, with him, here's how we're going to guard him. Here's what our game plan is going to be. Without him, here's what we're going to do. They've got some very, very talented players, a kid named Duke McDaniel, who's a guard, who's as quick and fast as any guard we've played all year long. They've got a shooter that from a transfer from Villanova, who is like a big-time sniper. So, and they've got some good athletes. So Jerome Tank's put together a good team. They've been up and down this year, just like we've been up and down this year. And so we'll see who we get on Sunday. And it's difficult to prepare when you don't know who's going to play or who's not going to play.
Well, you got a center who's got 118 assists this season. That's
Exactly.
a monster number.
That's a monster number.
All right, Julian Hammond.
Yeah.
I think you and I have talked enough where I said to you one day, I said, that kid is giving you everything that he has got this season.
He has. No, he has. Julian's been in I think he and Andre Yakimovsky have been our two most consistent players. I think Andre has been our most consistent defensive player. I think Julian has been our most consistent offensive player. Not that he's played great every game, but, you know, he's been, you know, relative to many of the other guys on our team, he's been there every night, and he's been practicing well. He's battling a little bit of a back issue right now. He's missed the last couple days, but we need him, you know, to be as good as he can be, because he's kept us in some games. He's helped us win some games that we wouldn't have won without him. And the thing I'm most proud about Julian is the fact that, you know, he's stuck with us. We've stuck with him. He sought this thing out, and I think he's probably learned this year that, like, when you become one of the guys, there's a lot of responsibility that comes with that. But basketball is such a team game. Like, you need your teammates. And, you know, when I look back at, you know, the teams that we've had over the last few years, up until this year, Julian has been one of those guys who's been a great teammate, you know, and hey, KJ went out. He was there to step in and fill in for him. He could play and help support KJ and make shots. That's the one thing Julian can do, is he can make shots, and that's something we really need this year, obviously. But I'm really proud of him, local product, you know, obviously big basketball family in the Denver community, and I couldn't be more proud of him, not only this year, but certainly his whole career. And and I'm a big Julian Hammond fan.
Yeah, without question. He's a local guy that went to the flagship institution and has made this program proud. So we're going to talk to Julian coming up next. Coach, good luck on Sunday.
Okay, thanks, Mark.
Tad Boyle here, the Buffaloes have got K-State in Manhattan at 2 o'clock on Sunday afternoon. Scott and I are going to hit the air at 1:30 with the pregame show. The aforementioned Julian Hammond, one of the seniors on this team, will join us after a quick break. We're here at Carelli's. It's Bus Primetime, and this is Colorado basketball from their field. Colorado basketball is brought to us by Molson Coors. Coors Light, choose chill, proud partner of Colorado Athletics. Back here once again. It's our second to last show of the year here at Carelli's at Boulder. We'll be out here next week between 7 and 8 o'clock. The women will be, of course, in Kansas City for their tournament next week, so won't have anybody from the women's program next week. JR Payne still to come. And right now, we got one of the seniors for the Buffaloes, 4-year player for Colorado out of Cherry Creek High School right here in the metro area. Local young man that's done well for himself. Julian Hammond, how are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
Fantastic. Can you believe you're already a senior?
Nah, yeah, it's crazy. I mean, it flew by. Like you don't think it'll happen until you're really there, and it's like, oh wow, I have one more home game left, and that's it.
Isn't that nuts? I mean, one more home game.
Yeah.
This has been a challenging season. What would you say about this year?
I mean, obviously, it's not the type of year that you want to have, especially as a senior. But I mean, you can take things from every year. You know, like
Sure.
Obviously, like nobody wants to lose this many games, but you have to learn how when you're losing, just to keep on going. You know, got to come in, put the work in every day, and how like your mentality and your focus and your and the way you go about things shouldn't change either way.
You know, Tad was talking about the role that you played this year. I mean, you're a marked man now. I mean, everyone, okay. When you move up to the front page of that scouting report, the defense becomes different on you, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, last year you figure, okay, you were coming off the bench much of the season. You're coming in, you're one of the reserve guys, and so you're a little bit further down the scouting report. Talk about how that has changed and what you've noticed this year.
I mean, last year was more like, all right, just get him off the line, force him into a two. Really, like that's really what I saw a lot. But this year, I see a lot of different ball screen coverages. I'm involved in more ball screen action, so some teams try and show and get out of my hands. Some teams, try and string it along and just kind of squeeze me into positions where I can't really make a play out of it. Sometimes I see more bodies coming in help side and stuff like that. So from game to game is different, and I just gotta adjust every game. And I think I need to do a better job sometimes of adjusting faster rather than
Sure.
the second half. I feel like I pick it up a lot more, but so I just have to see how they're playing me to start the game and then go from there.
What did you learn playing alongside guys like Tristan and KJ?
I mean, they didn't let anyone take them out of their game. Like they're like Tristan especially was always playing at his pace, but KJ did. He did a great job of like, all right, like I'm getting to this move and I'm gonna do it. Like
Sure.
Like you got to figure out a way to stop it. It's not like, oh, like I'm gonna make this move, but you might be there. Not like he was going 100 miles an hour because that was his game. That's what he was comfortable doing.
Tad talked about your shot making ability. You've become over the course of your career a very good 3-point shooter. Number one, that's a lot of hard work, isn't it? That's where that comes from.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I feel like I've always been a good shooter, and obviously, it's a lot different now because sometimes it's not just a catch and shoot three. I'm not just sliding a little bit, but I gotta get a quicker release, a little bit more range, just to make the defense have to guard me in different ways. So I just try and practice, whatever type of threes.
You get on a streak every once in a while. When the ball's coming off the fingers, do you know if it's going in or not?
Yeah.
Right away?
Yeah. Like, especially when I hit, like, one or two in a row.
Yeah.
And then it's like that next one, like, I know whether it's good or not out of my hand usually.
You do something, though, that is very tough to do in basketball. You've really perfected that little floater in the paint. And that's become a huge part of your game. That's not an easy shot.
Yeah, nah, but I mean, growing up, I always, like my dad always had us practicing that shot because, like for me specifically, like my brothers are more athletic than me, so they can get downhill and get to the rim. My youngest brother, he might go dunk on somebody.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, but that's not me at all. So, I try to get in that lane. I see the big guys just got to, get the right touch on it, and you got to perfect that.
But you're smarter than your brothers, right?
Yeah, I got to be.
Oh, yeah. And is your brother a senior right now?
Nah, he's a junior.
He's a junior right now. Yeah, and he's one of the top young players coming up, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he has 2 more years, but
you work out with him a little bit in the off season?
In the off season a little bit, but not as much anymore because he has his AU stuff going on, and
sure.
I'm up here, and so.
Do you get a chance to see many of his games?
I went to 1 or 2, and then they play close at Rawson Valley tomorrow night, so I'll probably go down there and watch.
Okay. Do you hear from your dad or your brother after one of your games?
Yeah, for sure.
Your dad most of the time?
Yeah. Definitely.
There's more to that, apparently. He's coaching you hard after a game? Is that what's going on?
I mean, it depends. It depends how I'm playing, obviously. Like, what game was it? Arizona State, I didn't score. My brothers made sure I heard about that for sure. So, it's always competition between us, even if we're not around each other.
I got it. What does it say about this locker room? Tad and I just got talking about the fact that this group has stayed together. Now, nobody has packed it in. You guys have gotten better here in the month of February than you were in January, despite the fact that the wins weren't piling up. It says something about the character of this team, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely. We have a bunch of guys who aren't selfish. Obviously, like you can't be selfish at this time because, we're like we're going through it. We're losing. We can't turn to start being selfish, and that's only gonna make it worse. And I would say that the group of guys we have this year might be the closest team that we've had since I've been here.
Wow.
Just in terms of doing stuff together, like with like everybody off the court and stuff like that. So, it's tough, obviously, but we have a bunch of good guys in the locker room. We don't have any issues with anybody or anything, so that's always good.
Do you know how rare a guy like you is in this modern game of basketball? The fact that you've done 4 years at an institution. I mean, that's a rarity, right? That was just, commonplace. That's what everyone did. You're an outlier now in the game of basketball. What was it about this program and why you said, I'm going to stay, I'm going to start here and I'm going to finish here at the University of Colorado?
I always trusted in the coaches, and they trusted in me. And growing up here, I always wanted to, play here. And obviously, there's always opportunity out there for, for money, but that doesn't always benefit the player.
Yes.
There's a lot of talented guys that enter the portal and stuff like that for money, and they get that money, and then they're not playing as much. They're not playing in the role that they thought that they're going to be playing in, and you see that happening to so many guys, and I love it here. So there was no reason for me to leave.
Yeah, we should take that clip and just send it to every college player in America, shouldn't we? Right there. I mean, and listen, everyone's going to do what's right for them. I understand. Circumstances are different for everybody. But, it's interesting when we're doing broadcast, and I talk about, this guy, here's the starting guard for whomever, and they've been to 4 schools, and I always think to myself, who is this guy going to identify as when it's all said and done, right? You've been a hired gun for 4 times. We're always going to think of the Evan Baddies of the world and the Julian Hammonds of the world. They're buffs. They have been here. You guys grew here. Your blood, sweat, and tears are left on the court out there. You need to take great pride in that because that's a unique quality that you guys have shown.
No, yeah, for sure. It wasn't really I didn't really think about even leaving really.
Right.
So, I always knew I was gonna be here for
That's
4
awesome.
years.
That is awesome. Well, here's the great thing, right? This thing's not over, right? There's
Yep.
still work to be done. You guys got a great opportunity coming up on Sunday in Manhattan. They were down at Texas Tech and then TCU at home. That's going to be emotional for you, huh?
No, yeah, definitely.
Senior day?
Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah.
Last game here, so hopefully, I can have, a real solid game. Go out, with the win, hopefully.
I like it. Then we're going to go into Kansas City in the tournament. Who knows what's going to happen?
Yeah, exactly.
Again, congratulations on a great career. You have been a credit to this institution.
Thank you.
And I know these people are all very proud of you. So good job.
Thank you.
All right, Julian Hammond, senior for the Buffaloes. He and the Buffs will take on Kansas State on Sunday in Manhattan. Let's take a timeout. We're going to talk to JR Payne, the last time we'll have her on the show this year because they've got 1 regular season game left. They'll be in Kansas City for the tournament. They were coming off that lopsided affair last night against Arizona State on senior day. So the head coach of the CU women's team will join us after a break. This is Colorado basketball from their field. Back one final time here at Carelli's of Boulder for Buffs Primetime. Time to talk with the CU women's coach, JR Payne. The Buffs coming off a nail-biting 35-point win last night. They were up by 45 at one point in time. Then it got away from them. But they won last night, getting ready for Texas Tech. And it was kind of nice to have your final home game and have one of those, huh?
It was, yeah. I mean, probably the biggest margin of victory we had this year, and to have it on senior night is even better.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, it was awesome.
You did something at the end of the game that was really kind of neat. You were just telling me a little bit about it. Some of your injured players, seniors, that wanted to be out there.
Yeah.
And it worked out so that you could give them a curtain call on the court.
Yeah, so Sarah Rose Smith and Frida Foreman were not healthy enough to play in the game, but, their last home game, very likely, and wanted to be on the floor, wanted to be in a uniform one more time. And both of them, Frida in particular, has spent many years in Boulder and had such an incredible career. So anyways, I met with them before the game, and they wanted to do it right at the beginning, and I thought, well, we can't do it at the beginning because we can't afford to give away a possession. And, what if it's, one possession game? And I didn't want everybody crying before the game started. And anyway, so I said, okay, if we're up big enough at the end, we'll do it at the end. And so thankfully we were, and it was really special to have 5 of our 6 seniors on the floor and be able to, sub them out and get sort of a curtain call.
Yeah, that's kind of a neat deal.
Yeah.
Give us a quick comment about each one of them. Start with Frida and what she's meant.
Well, Frida, I mean, she's just as loyal as they come. She's by far the hardest working player we've ever had in our program. Like, just every single possession. I think maybe that's partly why she's had some of the stress injuries this year is she just had a really hard time ever slowing down. And so, obviously, #1 shooter in the history of Colorado basketball, and she's going to go on and play pro and have a great long career, I'm sure. Sarah Rose Smith is a senior. She's been with us for 2 years. Phenomenal rebounder. She had 19 rebounds in a game this year.
That's right.
Got really close to some records and has been great. Just lots of injuries, this year, and so it's kept her out some. Naimir Du has only been with us for 1 year, but been really good. Transfer from Iowa State, athletic. She's a little bit banged up right now as well. Lior Gerzon is from Israel, transferred from Oklahoma State 1 year with us. Had a big game last night, 17 points, shot the ball well. Johanna Tadare, it's hard to remember all of them. Yeah. Johanna has been so steady. She hasn't played the point guard position since high school, but we've had a bunch of injuries at the point guard position, so we've had to throw her in the fire several times. And, the great thing about Yo is she just does everything with a smile. Okay. So she's like, what do you need me to do? I'll do it, and plays hard and great. Am I missing anybody?
I think you hit all of them there, didn't you?
Did I get them all?
I think so.
Kendall.
Oh, Kendall.
Gosh, how
geez,
could you
how
forget
did we
Kendall?
Forget that? Yeah.
Sorry. I mean, Kendall. Everybody already knows Kendall. Yeah. She's great, hardworking,
great defensive player. Yeah.
Incredible. Yeah, definitely the best defensive player we've ever had. I mean, I nominate her every single year for all conference defense, and she's won it many times, and just fierce on the floor.
Yeah, it really doesn't matter. You get somebody like Frida, who's been here for her entire career, and then even the 1 or 2 year players. When it comes down to senior day, it all feels the same, doesn't it?
Sure, yeah, and their families are here, and we did the banquet while their families were here, so it's been a great week.
Good week for the Colorado Buffaloes. The one thing that's happened with your injuries this year, and you've been hit pretty hard with the injury bug. It has not been easy. You've really had a chance to get some meaningful minutes for a lot of young players this season.
And that, in this day and age, is invaluable. We were talking about that the other day, saying some of our young players are playing a lot of minutes. I mean, 20, 30 minutes, in these conference games and contributing in so many meaningful ways on the court, off the court, playing in big moments. And I think that's great for our future. And they're really rising to the occasion. Yeah,
sometimes you don't get a chance to kind of build that foundation with some of the younger players, and you've gotten that opportunity.
Yeah.
Okay, one more regular season game.
One more.
You're going to go down to Lubbock, Texas now. That's Saturday afternoon, I think at 1 o'clock. Give us a quick thought about Texas Tech and what kind of team they are.
Yeah, Texas Tech is one of the 3 teams that we played twice this year, so we played them here in Boulder. Athletic. They have a couple that can really, really score the ball. Half of their offensive production comes from 2 players. So one averages about 17, one averages 16, and, they score just over 60 a game. So it's really important to be able to, guard those 2 certainly, and then we got to rebound well because they're real good on the glass. And I don't know, last time we played at Texas Tech, it was many years ago, but I think 4 of our 5 starters fouled out. And I think they took 45 free throws, and it was, so we're going to make sure that we keep our hands
Let's hope
to
that
ourselves.
doesn't happen again. Yeah.
Yes. Keep your hands to yourselves. That's the goal.
That's not you feel good about the way you're playing right now, because you're on the doorstep almost in the postseason there.
We're getting really close. Yeah, we're right there. Crazy enough, with our game yesterday, we jumped 7 spots in the net ranking.
Nice.
You know, so I mean, we're doing everything we can at this point. We're just trying to stay healthy and make a push here at the end.
All right. Well, the regular season wraps up on Saturday at Texas Tech, 1 o'clock for that ball game, and then you're into Kansas City for the tournament. Coach, great season. Good luck this weekend.
Thank you. Thanks, Carelli. Thanks, everybody.
There you go. Let's hear for JR Payne. Again, they play on Saturday. The men on Sunday in Manhattan, Kansas. Again, that's a 2 o'clock game. The women play at 1 on Saturday. As we say thank you for joining us here from Carelli's for Buzz Primetime. This has been Colorado Basketball from Learfield. Talk to you next.